This is Civic Eveman from the Chabad Jewish Center here in Mansfield, back with another Jewish cooking edition in honor of Chanukah. So, I'm going to teach you how to make my potato, carrot, parsnip latkes, everybody's favorite Chanukah food. So you're gonna have to roll up your sleeves, work a little hard to get the results that you want, but it's gonna be well worth it. First, you need a grater. And your first step you're going to do is you're going to peel 5 potatoes. I've already peeled and grated 5 potatoes, but we're just going to grate the very last one. Then I added 1 whole zucchini, 2 carrots, and 2 parsnips, and 1 onion. And don't worry if your potatoes start to brown a little, because in the frying pan, all the latkes ingredients kind of look the same. So you grate on the shredded side till you have nice, even, long pieces that look like this. Then you're going to go back to your fine side, and on your fine side, that's where you're going to grate your onion. And onion is the hardest job because you can shred an onion for just about an hour, and you get a teeny tiny little drop. So we're going to shred this entire onion. You're going to shred 5 potatoes, 1 zucchini, 2 parsnips, and 2 carrots. This is the hardest part. Once you've got all your vegetables together, we have this wonderful mixture with 5 potatoes, 2 carrots, 2 parsnips, 1 onion, and 1 zucchini. And here's the trick for the crispiest latkes in town. We're going to take a strainer and we're going to put it on top of another bowl, and we're going to squeeze out any excess liquid that we can get out, because liquid doesn't let the latkes turn out to be really crispy. So we're just going to empty the ingredients in here, and with the back of a spoon, I'm going to strain the liquid. Just push it down just like that. Strain the liquid out of these latkes. And you can pretty much add any vegetable you like to the latkes. I prefer potatoes, parsnips. You can add sweet potatoes. You can add butternut squash. But you may just need a little bit more frying time for some of the other vegetables. Once I squeezed out all my liquid, I should have a nice, check this out, lots of liquid on the bottom of the pan. Now we're ready for the combining. Okay, now the fun begins. So I'm going to put all my ingredients right back into my bowl, my nice strained ingredients. And now the fun starts. Simple ingredients, wholesome food, just the way your grandmother made it. I'm going to take a bowl, I'm going to crack 3 eggs. And notice that as I crack the eggs, I'm just going to gently toss them from one side to the other. Just like that. It's actually Jewish tradition to check for blood spots in the eggs so that it can be kosher. 3 large eggs is perfect. And a typical kitchen mishap. Okay, perfect. Then we're gonna whip it up just a little bit, combine the eggs together, and in the egg mixture, we're going to add a shake of pepper, 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I like to use sea salt because it really makes the flavors pop. Mix it all together and pour it straight into our latke batch. Once we mix all our wet ingredients together, it's as easy as adding 1/3 cup flour. And if somebody would be gluten-free, it's okay to add 1/3 cup of potato flour or rice flour or any other flour that you like. Combine the ingredients together, and the real trick, which is my grandmother's trick for making the best latkes, is a teeny tiny 1/3 teaspoon of baking powder. Now we're going to combine all the ingredients together, make sure the salt and the baking powder and the pepper is mixed in really, really well. And then we're going to start to fry our latkes. But why do Jewish people eat latkes on Hanukkah? So let me take you back to an amazing story around a few thousand years ago, the Jewish people lived in Israel. And I'm going to heat up the oil, heat up a third of a cup oil, and I'm going to tell you the story. So the Jewish people lived in Israel peacefully and happily, keeping their religion, their families, their traditions for many happy years. And then the Hellenic Greeks came to Israel. And when they came to Israel, they oppressed the Jewish people and no longer allowed them to follow and practice their religion. After many years of Jewish persecution, a small group of people, of brave men called the Maccabees, stood up and said, "We're not going to allow somebody else to tell us how to live, how to believe, and what to do. We're going to fight back." And miraculously, even though the Maccabees were just a small band of Jews with not a lot of weaponry and not a lot of practice at war, and the Greeks were strong and powerful, miraculously, God led the Greeks into the Maccabees' hands. And after the Maccabees won over Israel, they joyfully returned to the temple of old, to light the beautiful golden menorah that was in the temple. And in the temple, the menorah, which looks similar to our menorah, but has 7 branches, had to be lit with the purest fine olive oil, 1 drop of the best olives that Israel had to offer. And they looked around the entire temple, but couldn't even find 1 small flask of pure olive oil. And finally, from the corner of the temple, 1 child screamed out, "We got it! We found it!" And they found a teeny little flask of olive oil. And they ran to the menorah, and the Jews joyfully gathered around the menorah, and they poured the olive oil into the menorah, and they lit the menorah, and they danced and sang and celebrated their freedom. But that oil was just enough to last for 1 day. And to make brand new olive oil would take the Jews 8 days to make the olive oil in the hills of Jerusalem. But miraculously, night after night, day after day, that little drop of oil lasted for 8 amazing days. And to celebrate that miracle, and to celebrate our freedom of religion, and to celebrate the miracle of the little olive oil, Jewish people celebrate Chanukah for 8 days long. They gather together, they light the menorah, they spin the dreidel, they eat chocolate gelt, and most of all, they make their latkes. So latkes are a food that's fried in oil. And to remind us of the amazing miracle that God did with the oil, we eat latkes. So the way you can tell if your oil is heated is that we're going to put a little drop in. And as soon as it sizzles, we know that it's ready. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take around a spoonful of latkes. I'm going to drop it in and just pat it down. And the real trick of having amazing crispy latkes is to make sure that your oil is sufficiently heated and it's ready to just burst. I'm going to make sure not to crowd the pan. I'm going to add 3 or 4 at a time. So Chanukah reminds me most of all, the universal message for everyone today is that look at that teeny little drop of oil that lasted for 8 days, because a little bit of light and a little bit of goodness and a little bit of kindness can just light up even very dark times. And Chanukah is really just our family's favorite holiday. We light the menorah, we bring latkes to senior centers, we light the menorah in different towns and communities, and every night of Chanukah. We're going to give it around 2 minutes on each side. And interesting enough is that on the first night of Chanukah, December 6th, that very first light, we're going to be right here in Mansfield at the Mansfield Town Hall, and we're going to light a 9-foot glow-in-the-dark menorah. The entire menorah will glow in the dark. And we're going to have black lights and glow-in-the-dark music and raffles and dreidels and gelt and latkes, and we're going to celebrate religious freedom, light, and goodness that dispels darkness. So if you look at the latkes, the bottom side is just beginning to brown. Nope, not there yet. So while our latkes are frying, I'm going to tell you a little story about the dreidel. So these little toys over here, these dreidels, are amazing little things because when you spin it, you can spin it forwards, you can spin it upside down. Any way you spin it, you're going to land on a letter. And these 4 letters, Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin, stand for 4 different words. Nes gadal haya sham. A great big miracle happened there. And every time we spin the dreidels, we think of this great story. The Jewish children of Jerusalem weren't afraid to follow the Torah and to learn the alphabet and to learn our traditions. So when the Greek soldiers weren't looking, they would creep up to the hills on the mountains of Jerusalem, and they would gather together with their teachers in the caves. And the Greek soldiers knew about these Jewish little groups of getting together. So what they would do is they would often send soldiers up the mountains to find the kids. And they would creep up the mountains, and as soon as the children would hear the footsteps of the Greek soldiers coming, they would quickly hide their scrolls, hide their books, and they would whip out these dreidels out of their pockets, and they would spin these dreidels. And the Greek soldiers would say, "Hey guys, what are you doing today?" And they would say, "Oh, we're just playing dreidels with friends. We're just playing tops with friends." And these little dreidels saved those Jewish children, and they were able to continue learning the traditions and learning Hebrew and learning all the amazing things that they did. So to commemorate the bravery of the children, these little plastic dreidels can be made out of plastic, wood, metal, are spun every night of dreidel in a very fun game. Let's go check on our latkes and see how they're doing. Perfect. I think we're ready to, excellent. I'm gonna turn them all over. I'm going to give them 2 minutes to fry on this side. The real action and the real fun of Chanukah is all around the menorah. The menorah is the highlight of every Chanukah party because we light the candles every night with 2 special blessings. And every night of Chanukah, we increase in just 1 more candle. So the first night of Chanukah, we light 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and 5, adding a little extra light each day into the dark of the winter. So children light the menorah, adults light the menorah, children craft menorahs, and the menorah is the central fun of Chanukah, and we make sure to light it every night. The Chabad Jewish Center spreads the light of Chanukah by lighting the menorah in many different towns and places. On Sunday night, we're going to be lighting it in the Mansfield Town Hall. On Tuesday night, we're going to be lighting it at the Norton Town Common at 5:30 p.m. At Wednesday, we're going to be having a Chanukah party at Amigo Day-Hab program in Attleboro. On Thursday, we're going to be lighting the menorah in Easton. And on Sunday, we're going to be adding light and having a klezmer concert at the North Attleboro Emerald Square Mall at 5:30 p.m. All of these events are free of charge, open to the public, open to the community, and all are welcome. Chanukah is just a beautiful tradition. It can be celebrated by people of all faiths, and it's really about goodness and kindness and freedoms that we all enjoy today. So our latkes are just about ready, and here's our favorite way to dress the latkes. First off, we're going to drain it on a little bit of paper towel to absorb the excess oil. That looks perfect. Then we're going to take a little bit of sour cream or cream cheese, a little dollop, fresh, hot out of the frying pan so it can melt. And everyone's favorite tradition, a little bit of sweet applesauce. And then we're going to dig right in and enjoy our hot, delicious latke straight from the frying pan right to you. So have a happy, joyous Chanukah and good celebrations for your family and friends.